Good evening, everybody. This is Linda from North Central Texas at you again today. And I took a hankering for some apple dumplings. So I decided I was going to make some. But you know me, I'm by myself, so I'm fixing half a recipe. I want to tell you that right up front. This is a half of a recipe. If you want to do the whole recipe, double everything that I'm fixing to do. Okay? So let's get busy. First of all, we're going to need an apple. And I do need to peel it. In fact, I'm going to cut it in half first. Because I don't want peelings on my apple. Oh, and while you're peeling that, preheat your oven to 350 degrees. Make sure I have nothing in there. I'm going to cut each half of apple into 4 pieces because we need 8 wedges of apple. So I'm just going to cut it in half and then cut it in half again. And then make sure that the core is out of it. Because we don't want that pesky core in there. No more than we want peeling on it. We'll go ahead and cut it and then I'll peel it. Oops. Not exactly the way I wanted it to do that, but hey. It's really hot outside today. My plants are suffering, but they'll feel better when the sun goes down. Y'all like apple pie? Have you ever had apple dumplings before? But you're going to end up with 8 pieces of apple. Because guess what? Half of a recipe is 8 pieces. Or just 1 apple cut into 8 pieces. Now what we need to do, you're going to need 1 roll of crescent rolls. There's 8 crescent rolls in here. And like I said, I'm just using half of a recipe. If you want to use the whole recipe, you need 2 cans of these. I'm just using one. Now, what we got to do is separate these. The best I can. For the whole recipe, you need a 9 by 13 inch pan. I'm using a smaller one because I don't have as many. Okay, I've got butter, and I've got to put it in the microwave to melt it a little bit. I just put it on defrost. That way it don't get hot and start popping in there. But what we're going to do is separate each crescent roll till we get each triangle. I think you can see. I'm sorry, you're going to hear that microwave until it melts that butter. Now, what we're going to do we're going to roll each apple in the crescent roll, starting with the smaller side first, or the point, the smaller point. We're just going to roll them up. And we're going to pinch the edges shut. If you can. I mean, these were big pieces of apple. Goodness. And then I'm just going to place them in my dish. You can see them over here. I'm going to put them right in my dish. Might need to flatten these out a little bit. But again, put it at the smallest part of the crescent roll, the point, and then roll it. Practice makes perfect, y'all. Then you're just going to pinch the edges closed. Place them in there. You know what? I'm going to put a little bit of butter, I think. Let me get my butter back here. I think I'm going to get a tiny bit of this butter, because it calls for a half a cup of butter. And that's what I got here, half a cup. But I'm going to put just a little bit of this butter. In the bottom of my pan. And then put my rolled up dumplings right down on them. And you might want to stretch these out so they're more of a triangle than what they are, so you can roll your apple up in it better. Again, I'm starting at this pointy end of the triangle, and I'm just rolling my apple. Pinch the end shut. And place in your pan. And this is going to be perfect for eight of them. I didn't want to fix a whole great big pan full. Not 16 dumplings. I mean, hey, I love them. Don't get me wrong. But that'd be a lot for me to eat. And I love apple pies and stuff like that, so. Trying to show you what I'm doing. You can just pull part of that dough over and just pinch it up. And it would help too if you flour your cutting board here. I didn't do that. I mean, you don't have to, because we're not rolling dough out. We're just trying to get it straight out enough that we can roll our pieces of apple in it. Hoping you can see me a little bit better. See how I got it? I've got it at the small end, and we're going to roll toward the big end. And you should have just enough to pinch that dough at the ends of your apple. Just like so. It's not going to be perfect, but it'll be good enough. You can see I'm just pulling it out just a little bit. Just so it'll fit my piece of apple better. Just like so. That's your little dumpling right there. So you got just enough dough at each end that you can pinch it and it seals it up. I might wish I'd have made more than this, but I know me, if I made a lot of them, I would eat them all. And I don't need to be eating them all. I mean, they're good, but hey. You don't have to worry too much about the pointy end. We just need this other part stretched out big enough to fit our apple. Start at the small end and roll. And place in your pan. I'm going to scrape some of this up off of my board. If I don't, I'll never get it up. I always like quick and easy things. Now, to a half a stick of butter. And remember, I'm doing half a recipe. To a half a stick of butter. And it's got to be softened, melted. I'm going to add a teaspoon of cinnamon. Well, sometimes these little plastic tops don't want to come off. A teaspoon of cinnamon. Right in our butter. And we need 1.5 cups of sugar. I knew I was going to forget something. I forgot to get the sugar out. Oh, let's see. I don't know if this is it or not. Probably cornmeal. That's cornmeal. I know I've got Well, I found my sugar, y'all. I knew I had it. And you know me, I'm always going to forget at least one ingredient. Now, we need 1.5 cups of white granulated sugar. A little bit more. Oops, not that much. I had a clump in there and it fell out in my thing and all over the stove. And that was a little bit too much. One and a half cup of sugar. I got sugar all over my stove, y'all. But what I'm going to do is add my butter right into my sugar. Because that is a 2-cup container right there. And I'm going to mix it in. I bet y'all thought you were supposed to put the sugar and stuff in with your apple when you rolled your crescent roll, but nope. It doesn't do that. Just get it all mixed up real good. And that seems like that's a lot of sugar. You know what it is. In looking for the sugar, I forgot I'm using half a recipe, not a whole recipe. I mixed up enough sugar for a whole recipe. 1.5 cups would mean 3/4 cup is all I need for my recipe. Go ahead and get it mixed up good. Yeah, I thought that was a lot. So we only need like half of this. Not the whole thing. Now, I'm just going to pour it right over my dumplings. Yeah, so don't think you can't cut recipes down. If that recipe says you can make 16 with the recipe, you don't want that many. And I'm just going to try to coat all of my dumplings with my sugar and my cinnamon mixture. Because some of them didn't get coated good. Now, I got a bottle of Mountain Dew. I had the big bottle. It calls for 1 can of Mountain Dew. That means for the whole double recipe. I'm using half a recipe. So I've only got 6 ounces instead of 12. Remember, 12 ounces of Mountain Dew. And I'm just going to pour that right over my dumplings. Again, I'm going to get a baking sheet. If I can find my baking sheet. Where is it? And again, that's just because I don't want sugar out in the bottom of my stove. I mean, that's not going to happen. This pan is deep enough, but I do it out of habit. Now, our oven should be preheated right now. We're going to bake in a preheated oven until golden brown. That's 35 to 45 minutes. So let's get this in there. And I can clean up all my stuff and the sugar off of my stove. Because, oh my God, the ants would have a field day if they got whiff of that sugar on my stove. Oh my God. I'd never get rid of the ants. But I took a hankering for something sweet, and I kept thinking apple pie. And I said, well, I don't want to fix a whole apple pie. So, the dumplings came to mind. I said, well, we can fix us some apple dumplings. Aren't you glad I did? Y'all get to fix some apple dumplings, y'all. You know me, I gotta keep my kitchen clean because we'd be invaded by these ants if I didn't. And I don't know if it was a prank or what the deal is, but I got a message telling me that my neighbor across the street posted a message to everybody in the neighborhood that there was a mountain lion on this street, and they said it was over on the empty lot over here beside where my wishing well is, up in a tree. But I haven't heard or seen one, so I don't know. And I've been outside most of the day. I don't know when that was sent or when it was posted. But I don't know who this Leanne is. I know a Leanne right down the street, but it was not her that sent the message. I don't know who it was. And I've got to set my alarm for 35 minutes before I forget it. Trying to get it, y'all. Let me get it set for 35 minutes before I forget. And I hated to even get my oven going because it's so hot. Oh, come on. I think the battery just died on it. Thought I had plugged it in and I didn't. Oh well, I'm looking at the time up there. It's about 10 after 7. About 10 minutes to 8, our pie should be done. But getting back to the little story I was telling, I don't know who that was that sent that message. I mean, it had to be somebody around here that knew. Well, no, it don't, because they could watch some of my videos and know I got a wishing well out in the yard. But it kind of scared me at first, because Glen Rose is not that far from here. And I know they've been sighting mountain lions down in that area. They even attacked a gentleman. So, I mean, we do have mountain lions. We just don't usually see them around this area. Usually they're further south. But hey, who knows? One could have made his way up this way. I just don't know. My neighbors are gone. They've been gone for hours now, so I don't know. And like I said, I don't know if it was posted today, yesterday. I think it was today, because see if this is charged enough. I thought I had my charger plugged in and it wasn't, and my phone died. We usually have prairie dogs up around this way. Not so much mountain lions, so I don't know. It's hard to say what's going on with wildlife. But these apple dumplings are going to be good, y'all. If you love apple pie and you don't want to go to the trouble just to make a whole apple pie, make you some apple dumplings the quick and easy way. It turns out basically the same way. You get the crunchy crust and the apple. And I think you'll love them. This thing is down to 0%, but I've got it plugged in, so it may come on. I don't know. It's not going to work. It needs to charge up a little bit more. But anyway, if you're hankering for an apple pie and you don't want to go to the trouble to make the whole apple pie, make you some apple dumplings. And I'm going to let these cook for about 35 minutes. I'll check them and see how they're doing. And if they're not done yet, I'll leave them in there for another 10 minutes. Well, we're back. And I'm going to check. They've been in there a good 45 minutes now. Oh yeah, let me get my other glove. They need to come out. Go ahead and turn this oven off. Look at that. Don't that look good? Don't those look yummy? They're sizzling hot though. I don't know if I'll be able to eat one anytime soon. That is good and gooey right there. It's crunchy on the top, but it's like a dumpling on the bottom. Let's see if we can get over here and I know it is too hot to eat. But y'all take a bite. Look at that. Doesn't that look good, y'all? Looks like apple pie to me. Let's see if I can get it cooled. I can't wait to taste it. I mean, I know it's good. Mmm. That is good, and there's a big old hunk of apple in that. Y'all take a bite. Take another bite of it. That's good. Just like eating apple pie. Mmm. That is good, y'all. Y'all take some more. That is so good. Y'all fix you some apple dumplings. Mmm. That'd be so good with a scoop of vanilla ice cream on top. Just like you would a piece of apple pie. Don't that look good? Mmm. That was just a little bit hot, but it's so good. Y'all try these. The longest it's going to take to cook them is just the time they spend in the oven. You saw how easy they are to make. So if you're in a hankering for some apple pie, fix you some apple dumplings. And I'll see you on my next one. Bye now. Love y'all.